Benefido. Good morning. Hello, it's Motivation Mornings with Marnie and Melissa. I'm Melissa Houston, a health insurance specialist and financial planner in beautiful Victoria, BC, Canada. And I am happy to report, we're already at 7:32. The sunrise in Victoria today is at 7:39. So in a mere 7 minutes, the sun will be up. Isn't that amazing?
Hey, I love that you know the exact time. That's awesome.
I just looked.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Marnie Dangerfield, also here in Victoria, BC. I'm a wellness and intentional creativity coach. And I'm so excited to see Melissa's backdrop with the snowdrops. I got to see some snowdrops in my garden yesterday, and I was really excited. So it's really neat to see them in Melissa's backdrop too.
I'm enjoying the snowdrops, the first new flowers of the spring. I mean, it's not technically spring, but.
And good morning, Rose. So lovely to have you here this morning.
Good morning. So nice to have you as always.
So we'll go right into it. Headphones in. We always like to start with our value statement, and then we'll each be sharing what our inspirations are, what's inspiring us this week, and we hope you will share in the comments as well. And then I'll be sharing a wellness tip / challenge today. And should you choose to accept it. And you don't and then we'll be sharing our contact information. The new excitement for 2021 is the journal prompt Melissa will be sharing, right?
Yes.
I'm getting confused about our order, but that's, I believe it. And then we'll be coming back for sharing gratitude, and hope you'll share too in the comments. And Melissa will close us out.
Perfect. Oh, you know what? We didn't get me all set up with the sharing this morning. That'll be a little bit interesting. We'll have some text. It'll be fine. All right.
And Rose is mentioning that she remembers the snowdrops in her yard when they lived here. Victoria snowdrops.
Yes. All right. So our value statement today: we gather
in the spirit of possibility,
in support of community,
to encourage holistic well-being,
to empower our authentic selves,
to share appreciation,
to express compassion,
and to enjoy this gift of life.
Woohoo.
So I believe that
all right. Yes, Marnie, sharing first. What has got you motivated and or inspired?
Well, I was inspired, believe it or not. Well, there's always podcasts, but I'm not choosing a podcast this week. But an article a friend shared in The Guardian about, and I'll share the link in the comments, of course. And it was titled "Back Boxes, Green Streets, Bug Hotels, Barcelona Embraces Its Wild Side." And it was this article about how, I guess back last spring when they had to lock down and shut down their parks, well, no dogs, there was not really any traffic going through, and they had more rain than normal. And so when they were emerged in April, there had been just massive spring growth and more wildflowers, and it was just, people were like, what? So, and I guess the city had already been leaning towards trying to green the city more and have more naturescaping, but seeing this, it's just amplified it. And so Barcelona is really embracing not making it wild, but yeah, more naturescaping, and looking at more rooftops and taking up more pavement and putting in more green space. So it's I just found it really inspiring, and it's a big city not known for greening and such, and so I just thought wow, nature's coming back. Nature's making a comeback in the cities. And people were really appreciative of it too. And so just feeling that connection growing. Of course, we're of nature. So I thought it was fantastic. I will be sharing it in the comments or later.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm happy for the people of Barcelona. And it would be, I mean, it's always nice to see that, and it might inspire some other cities to see the benefits of supporting the development and rebirth kind of nature within the urban landscapes. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
And that actually, you just reminded me of an article I meant to read when I saw the headline, and I haven't yet. And the headline was that Europe last year generated more energy through renewable sources than any other kind. And I meant to read that article. So I will read it. And if it's good, I will also share it.
Oh, yes, please. Oh, that sounds amazing. Yes.
So I will look forward to reading yours when you share it in our comments, Marnie. Thank you.
Definitely. And I just seen from Rose here that she's been to Barcelona.
Yes,
she loved it.
a couple years ago.
Awesome.
Oh, I hope to go too. I'm sure it's a lovely city.
She's hoping to go too. But so what's inspiring you this week?
Well, I have to say it was spurred by a podcast episode, but I'm going to expand on that a little. I was enjoying the 10% Happier podcast this week, although I listened to an old episode because a name kept popping up in the meditation community of Sam Harris. And so I finally got around to specifically listening to the 10% Happier episode where he was a guest. And my brain went, he's a neuroscientist and an author, and he's now got his own podcast that I haven't really listened to yet, and books. The Waking Up book, I don't know if you have read that at all, Marnie, but so I'm just now getting introduced to his philosophies, and it was just wow. It's deep stuff because it takes a little while to wrap your head around it, unless you're just exceptionally skilled at seeing things differently.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned it. It's been a bit since I've listened to that, and it would be a great listen. And they're not related, but it's a fabulous conversation.
Yeah, because it was from, I think, 2017, that episode. So it's not a new episode, but I can't wait to delve in more to hear about all the things he has to say about meditation and just our minds and consciousness. And it's fascinating. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, so I will share that podcast episode, but I might just share a few other links in case people prefer to not just have podcast episodes.
And sorry, I love hearing about podcasts, and I'm so grateful you shared this. So yes, no, podcasts are so wonderful. I was just, like I was always, but this is fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing it.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow.
And
now I like the tease you had of potentially a challenge. Ooh, what does Marnie have in mind for us today, everyone?
Well, it dawned on me, winter continues. I know where we are, we're fortunate, and we have some spring like tendencies happening with snowdrops blooming and certain things starting to bud. But I know winter can be a sort of a trickier time per se to get outside. I know we had a lot of rain there for a while, so I wasn't getting out as much, but I know there's the deep cold and snow. But it's still like connecting with the natural world for even just a short break each day is so good for you, good for your heart and your soul and your body. And so my challenge, should people want to choose to accept it, is is to intentionally choose each day, and it can be different times, that whatever works for you, but get into that intentional choosing to just pause. And whether, if you can't go outside, at least look out the window and notice something else natural outside your window. And just because there's subtle changes happening right now, like so much has been dormant. And I know in the deep freezing, there's maybe not as much change, but I bet you every day, if you're looking out, even the clouds are different, or there's just actually pausing to just really notice what's happening in the natural world, where you are, go anywhere, whether it's your own, just out your window or just in your vicinity where you live. Just, there's even just cracks in the sidewalk, like just that intentional focus, pausing and taking in what's happening. I know here there's we do have on our deciduous shrubs, there's this subtle growing of some of the buds. They're not blooming, but there's just like this little bit incremental, like, ooh, there's a touch of green, or just the bud itself is starting to get bigger. So just choosing each day to just kind of just pause and notice that. And if you have a notebook or a journal, you can jot it down, and just starting to create this practice of just, because there's so much in our lives. It's so wonderful, but it's also very distracting and can take us outside of ourselves and where we are, where we're grounded in, TV and Zoom and news and family. But having that time where you're grounding in your space and place and connect to the natural world is just such a powerful process and so good for you. And I wrote down side effects. Warning: side effects may include experiencing moments of awe, wonder, and joy. You just never know what's going to happen. Birds could be. So that's, should anyone choose to accept it, trying for this week. Doesn't have to be a forever thing, but just play with it. Get curious. What might you notice? What might you feel? What might come up for you? And like I said, it doesn't have to be a set. It can be a minute or two each day. If you have more time, spend a bit more time, or break it up throughout the day. But just, I'm gonna take a pause. Just,
Oh, I love that. I'm going to take up the challenge. I certainly have been going out for walks and that in the mornings, but that's still very just goal oriented of physical activity. It's not just immersing myself in the outside world and nature and actively enjoying it and appreciating it. So I definitely want to add some of that more into my daily life. And I loved your idea about just looking out the window for people who are in environments that, just standing outside may not be
I know, it'd be really cool.
great experience when it's minus umpteen degrees. But that made me think of over the past few days, we've had flocks of birds just suddenly come down in our yard and are pecking at the ground, feeding. And it's just so magical when you see so many of them. Like, it's pretty common to see crows and that, but these were other smaller birds, and they're just so sweet and pretty and hopping around and pecking. And I was just watching from my kitchen window, and it was such a delightful thing. So like that kind of experience, but I actually want to get outside, and even for, like you said, even if it's just a few minutes of active appreciation, I think that would be great.
Yeah, just, and then it's that slowing down and just noticing what's happening in your natural environment. And found, yay, Rose, agree. Rose.
Well, thank you, Marnie. Thank you so much. I love that inspiration. All right. We will move on to, I'm sharing our contact info. Let's see if I can do that well here.
Yeah, Rose makes a very good point about having your cell phone. It's like, yeah, maybe you just have your cell phone off for a sec while you're having nature, just for a little bit.
And Marnie, darling, I can't seem to share my screen at the moment.
Oh, we didn't.
Can you?
See, this is what happens.
This is what happens when Marnie and I chat before we get going.
I love that. Okay, there we go.
Oh,
With the delay.
here we go. Here we go. Advance. Oh, we'll get there, folks.
Mhm.
Okay. I'll just adjust
There
slightly.
we go. That. Seamless.
So I haven't had anyone send us any motivational quotes yet, but if you have some that you would like us to feature on an upcoming webcast of Motivation Mornings, please email me that quote at motivation.mornings@gmail.com. And like I said, you don't have to have the full image. If you just have the quote itself, I'll put it in an image, but if you have the whole thing, awesome. Or if you have any other feedback or ideas you want to share with us, feel free to email us. And if you are not currently on our Facebook page, you can find us at MM with MM. I highly encourage you to like our page there because that's where you're going to get updates the most frequently. And we have our resources that we share in the comments below the Facebook Lives. Then we have our Instagram, motivation_mornings_with_mm. I'm posting reminders on Wednesday mornings, usually about an hour and a half beforehand. And we also put our motivational quotes on there. And finally, we have our YouTube. So anyone who doesn't join us live, if you are a big YouTube fan and like to get reminders, please have a visit there and subscribe, and you'll get notifications whenever our new webcasts are posted. And I will continue on to this week's journaling prompt. Everybody ready? Pen and paper? Here we are. This week is, what would my ideal day look like? Ooh, isn't that a fun thing to think about? What would my ideal day look like?
Ooh, such a good question. Thank you.
I would love to know the answers of that too.
Yes. Anyway, comfortable sharing in the chat after you do this. Whatever you're comfortable with, we loved it. We loved to hear. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to just dive right into my gratitude. Just
gratitude time.
I was thinking this morning, I'm really grateful for my my light up vest. As I mentioned, I'm going on walks in the morning. And although it is now getting lighter out earlier, when I first leave the house, it's still pretty dark. And it's not super early. There's still traffic around, and a lot of side streets don't even have sidewalks. And it just makes me feel good that I am visible, and it's a fun light up vest where it's like changing colors and stuff. So it's fun and pretty at the same time. And my friend had recommended it to me, so I got that at the beginning of the fall, and I'm just really grateful to have that because it makes my walks feel safer. And yeah, I'm glad for that.
That sounds fabulous. Yeah. So good to be visible when it's dark.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
What are you feeling especially grateful for today?
It's funny. I had something, and just something's coming up in this moment, so I'm just going to go with it. I just really want to just send my love to those, because I just so appreciate your kind, loving, supportive presence every week, and the way you're always supporting us in the comments, just being here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Big heart.
Definitely appreciate your support. All right. Well, I will go back to the magic sharing screen and finish up today with our motivational quote. Now, I feel like I'm cheating a little bit here because I felt inspired my inspiration. So I found a Sam Harris quote that I liked.
Yes. Oh, when she's in nature too.
Yeah, the image was great.
Look what
All
she's
right.
paying attention to. Sorry.
Yes, she is in nature and she's paying attention to it. It's very on point for today's webcast. All right, the quote is, how we pay attention to the present moment largely determines the character of our experience and therefore the quality of our lives, by Sam Harris. So that speaks very well to the wellness tip that you had for us today, Marnie.
I just love how that seems to work. Oh, because we
Yeah,
we
it
don't
is.
coordinate beforehand. Just go with what comes to us. Yay.
I know. I impress us that way.
That's a beautiful, uh, fabulous way to finish up the call with motivation. Thank you, Melissa.
You're so welcome. And thank you, Rose, for joining us live. If there was anyone else that I couldn't see, thank you. And anyone who is watching the replay, hope you have a most wonderful Wednesday. And I will definitely look forward to seeing you, Marnie, and everyone else who can join us next week on Wednesday.
Yes. See you next week. Take care, everybody. Have fun.
Take care. Bye.